We have a pretty big pitcher injury and deep sleeper hitters up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome in to FBT in 5. Today is Tuesday, February 28th. I am Frank Sample, joined by Scott White. And the news from earlier on Monday was Tyler Glasnow suffered an oblique injury during a live batting practice session, will undergo an MRI on Tuesday. But obviously, Scott, this does not sound good. You have him as your SP30. I have him at SP27. How far do you think we're going to wind up moving him down here?
I mean, quite a bit if he begins the year on the IL, and with an oblique injury, I suspect that's what'll happen. The irony is, though, I might be more likely to draft him because of how much it could cause him to slide in the rankings. And we'll see when the actual timetable comes out, how much he deserves to versus how much he does. But there tends to be, with pitchers especially, and anybody who's in line to begin the year on the IL, there tends to be sort of an overreaction to that, and they end up going so late that it's worth it, especially in leagues that offer an IL spot. So, I was not one to trust Tyler Glasnow would stay healthy in the first place, but there comes a point in the draft where the reward is worth the risk, and he's more likely to last to that point now, I would say.
Tyler Glasnow has never pitched more than 111 and 2/3 innings at the major league level, but the glass half full, Scott, or as you said on the Full Length podcast, the glass now half full, is that this isn't an arm injury. So yep. We'll wait and see what we can find out. Let's rattle off some deep sleeper hitters, Scotty. We'll just go back and forth here, and we'll start off with one that you've got outside of the top 300 in ADP.
Yeah, Oscar Colas of the White Sox. They left the right field job open for him. He had big numbers in the minors last year. It was his first year in the minors, but he has experience from Cuba and Japan, big power. He says he's concentrated more focused more on hitting the ball the other way this year, trying to be a more complete hitter. I think the raw power is good enough that overall that's going to be a successful formula for him, and he appears well on his way to winning that job for the White Sox. So I like him as like a fifth outfielder type.
Yeah, no, I agree with that one as well. And these are names that you're looking at in deeper mixed leagues, AL and NL only leagues. And I'll start off with Spencer Steer, Scott, who's going at pick 467. Came over last year in the Tyler Mahle trade, came over to the Reds, that is. He had a successful season in the minors. He hit 274, 23 homers, and an 879 OPS. The Reds don't have much talent right now, so they're going to give Spencer Steer an opportunity to start likely at third base, and we'll see what he can do with that. But good minor league numbers and an opportunity to play in a really good ballpark. That adds up to Spencer Steer as a deep hitter. Sleeper. Scott, you were back up. Who you got?
Oswald Peraza of the Yankees, who is, according to beat writers, the favorite to win the shortstop job, even though he didn't get to start often over Isaiah Kiner-Falefa down the stretch last year. Power speed combo at the position, and it's a position that can use some late round talent because it's deep at the top, but shortstop falls off pretty quickly in the middle to late stages of the draft. We like Ezequiel Tovar as a fallback option there, but I think we should like Oswald Peraza just as much, at least as soon as we find out for sure that he is the guy for the Yankees.
Yep, another one that I agree with you wholeheartedly, Scott. I mean, again, we got to see what happens, but there's a lot of talent there, and I think in the best case scenario, we could see a 15-15 or even a 2020 season out of Oswald Peraza this season. Next up for me is David Villar, who's going outside the top 500 picks in ADP. He had 36 home runs last season between the minors and the majors. Had a very strong September as well, finishing strong with the Giants. He hit 269 with 8 homers and 897 OPS. And an 11% barrel rate over that final month. And all of the recent reports that I've seen say the Giants' third base job is Villar's to lose. So all he needs to do is not fall flat on his face here in spring training, and I think he will be the starting third baseman in San Francisco. All right, Scott, another sleeper hitter. Who you got?
Jared Kelenic. Jared Kelenic had a 2-homer game for the Mariners the other day. Obviously, people are familiar with Kelenic. It's been a struggle in the majors. But in that game, not only did he hit 2 home runs, he hit 3 balls 107 miles per hour or harder. Last year, this is according to Daniel Kramer of MLB.com. Last year, the only players to have hit 3 balls 107 miles per hour or harder in the same game were Aaron Judge, Jordan Alvarez, Jock Peterson, and O'Neal Cruz. So clearly, Jared Kelenick's still flashing a lot of upside. We'll see if he can keep the strikeouts down, if he can hit breaking balls well enough to win the job and keep it for the Mariners.
I saved the best for last, and he's going really, really late in drafts. This name is Will Benson, who recently came over from the Guardians to the Cincinnati Reds, a former first-round pick back in 2016. Had a really strong season last year at AAA, hit .278 with a .426 on-base percentage, 17 homers, 16 steals, cut down on the strikeouts in a big way, and it sounds like Nick Senzel is not going to be ready for opening day for the Cincinnati Reds, so I think they're going to give Benson a shot and see what he could do, and I'm kind of interested. Power, speed, on-base skills, just got to keep those strikeouts down, and he's someone who's going extremely late. Like in your standard mixed leagues, probably just put him on the scout team and see if he ever turns into anything more than that. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye!